Have you dated before? Roswitha shook her head. I have spent 100 years busy with my studies and 100 years busy with my career. I don't have time for dating. How about you? Leon gave a small shrug. I have spent 15 years busy with my studies and 5 years busy with my career. I have been busy taking care of the children in the past 2 years. They both fell quiet for a moment. Neither of them had ever gone on a date before. Then Roswitha gave a gentle smile. Don't worry. I brushed up on dating knowledge last night. It was the weekend when Noah returned to the gates of Silver Dragon Castle after school. Leon, Roswitha, and Muin had already gathered early on the wide lawn in front of the city gate to welcome her home. Muin, full of excitement, placed the flower wreath she had made onto Noah's head and then followed her toward Leon and Roswitha. At that moment, Leon noticed a rolled-up piece of paper in Noah's hand. Curious, he asked her what it was. Noah handed the paper to him and replied, "This is the homework assigned by the school." Leon carefully unrolled it, and Roswitha leaned closer, equally curious to see what it contained. Together, they read aloud the words written on it. Write a composition of no less than 800 words on the themes of family and happiness. Essay competition. Lowering their heads, Leon and Roswitha looked at Noah. They realized this wasn't ordinary homework, but rather a school-wide writing competition. Noah confirmed this with a nod. In this competition, most of our classmates should be able to write about family relationships. After all, there are many families of vaporous dragons. So, I want to approach my essay from a different angle and leverage the unique advantages of the vaporous dragon family. With determined eyes, Noah clenched her small fists and looked straight at her parents. She had no intention of following the rest of her classmates with a predictable topic. After careful thought at school, she had already chosen her subject and seemed very confident about it. Muin blinked in confusion. The phrase "unique advantages of the vaporous dragon family" puzzled her. She didn't really understand what it meant. Noah turned to her younger sister and explained, The love between Mom and Dad." Leon and Roswitha froze at her words, their expressions stunned. Love. Our love. They echoed each other in disbelief, pointing at themselves as if the idea was completely foreign. Both were puzzled. Their relationship, after all, had always been maintained for practical reasons, not out of romance. Matters of love were not something they had ever truly experienced. But Noah, full of determination, gathered her courage. "Mom, Dad, can you please cooperate with me to find some materials and inspiration?" Her request made Muin's eyes sparkle. She raised her hand excitedly. "Wow! Muin wants to see this!" Leon scratched the back of his head awkwardly, closing his eyes with a forced smile. Still, since his daughter asked, he couldn't possibly refuse. If it's my daughter's request, of course, I have no problem." Roswitha bent slightly, smiling warmly at Noah. "Noah, how do you want us to cooperate with you?" Noah had already thought it through. With a bright and confident voice, she said, "You go on a date at Sky City tomorrow." Both Leon and Roswitha widened their eyes in surprise. A date? That was not what they had expected. The following day, as Noah requested, Leon and Roswitha arrived in Sky City. To demonstrate the seriousness of this date, they even changed into new clothes, matching outfits thoughtfully prepared by their daughters. The lively street was full of bustling vendors, cheerful tourists, and the sound of bargaining, laughter, and chatter blending into a joyful chorus. But despite the vibrant surroundings, the air between Leon and Roswitha remained stiff and awkward. Leon turned his head reluctantly. "Let's start dating." Roswitha closed her eyes, sighed softly, and gave a short reply. Leon frowned slightly. wondering how Noah even knew about dating at her age. Did she really understand what it meant? Roswitha, however, answered calmly, Noah isn't an ordinary child. She knows a lot of things. Not far behind, Noah and Muin trailed discreetly, observing their parents' every move. Their sneaky behavior drew curious looks from passing tourists. As they walked, Leon grew a little curious himself. He glanced at Roswitha and asked, Have you dated before? She replied without hesitation, I have spent 100 years busy with my studies, and 100 years busy with my career. I don't have time for dating. How about you? Leon shrugged helplessly. I have spent 15 years busy with my studies, and 5 years busy with my career. I have been busy taking care of the children in the past 2 years. They both fell silent for a moment, realizing the truth. They had no experience with dating at all. The silence only deepened their awkwardness. But Roswitha wasn't discouraged. With a confident smile, she declared, Don't worry. I brushed up on dating knowledge last night. Leon blinked, startled. She went on to explain that she had visited the library to avoid being unprepared, finding books about dating. The titles alone gave her confidence. My Lover, Slumbering in the Afternoon, and The Albatross's Love. Leon stared at her incredulously. These are all love novels, right? Roswitha nodded proudly, as though that settled everything. Leon coughed lightly into his hand. Truth be told, he had also anticipated this problem, and secretly studied as well. Trying to look serious, he said, Actually, I also consulted some materials last night and listed some dating items for ordinary couples. From his pocket, Leon pulled out a piece of pink paper. On it was a neat list. Visiting dessert shops, watching musical dramas, going to the zoo, and more. There are no messy couple games or overly intimate physical contact in these items, while still showcasing the warm theme of parental love. As long as we follow these items, we will never fail. We can definitely provide Noah with a perfect dating material. With a confident smile, he clenched his fist in determination. Roswitha nodded in approval, satisfied with his plan. Their date had officially begun. Leon and Roswitha began their day by checking off each activity from their list, one by one. Their first stop was a dessert shop, where they each bought an ice cream. With the sweet treats in hand, they strolled through the zoo, enjoying the animals on display. It was there that Leon suddenly noticed a peculiar and fascinating animal nearby. Curious, Roswitha turned her head and caught sight of it as well. Unbeknownst to them, Noah was hiding behind a bush, quietly observing their every move and jotting down notes. Muin crouched beside her, happily licking at her own ice cream. Later, Leon and Roswitha entered a clothing store. Roswitha lifted a soft pink dress from the rack, held it against herself, and turned to Leon for his opinion. Leon rubbed his chin, carefully studying both the dress and Roswitha herself. After a brief pause, he gave her some thoughtful advice. Not far away, Noah and Muin had scrambled onto a nearby rooftop, watching intently and recording the scene from their secret vantage point. Their date continued at the theater, where a stage play themed around albatrosses was being performed. Sitting side by side, Leon and Roswitha watched with great interest, occasionally joining the audience in applause. During the performance, an audience member noticed Noah and Muin sneaking quietly under her seat. Muin raised a finger to her lips, signaling for silence, as though begging the woman not to reveal their secret surveillance. After the play ended, the host began the interactive portion of the evening by selecting audience members to join him on stage. When he called out to Leon and Roswitha, the couple stared at him in disbelief. Blinking in surprise, they pointed to themselves as if to confirm he truly meant them. The host beamed and extended his hand, playfully asking Leon to put a ring on Roswitha's finger. A staff member handed him a box, and Leon, cheeks flushed with embarrassment, sank to one knee before her. For a moment, Roswitha froze in shock, her face turning red as she realized the audience was watching them. Gathering courage, Leon slid a ring adorned with a purple heart-shaped gemstone onto her finger. The theater erupted in applause. Behind the stage, Noah and Muin, now disguised as eggs and mushrooms, witnessed everything. Muin's heart swelled with joy at seeing Leon's first proposal. She opened her notebook and carefully recorded the moment, her face glowing with quiet happiness. The evening continued as Leon and Roswitha walked into a fortune-teller's tent. The purple canopy loomed mysteriously, with shelves of jars and divination tools lining the entrance. Inside, a young woman awaited them, dressed in a flowing purple gown, a small cloak draped across her shoulders, and a pointed witch's hat upon her head. Her face was veiled, adding to her enigmatic aura. The fortune-teller greeted them warmly, then turned to Roswitha. "Madam, are you a Scorpio?" Roswitha covered her mouth in surprise. "That's right. My birthday is October 25th. How did you know?" With closed eyes and a knowing smile, the fortune-teller began to speak of Scorpios, their hidden passion, their fearless love, and their uncompromising hearts. Roswitha listened intently, nodding in agreement. Leon, however, frowned and muttered skeptically, "This is just a trick for children." The fortune-teller shifted her gaze toward him. "And you, sir? You're a Leo, aren't you?" Leon blinked in embarrassment. Yes." She shook her head softly, explaining that Leo and Scorpio were notoriously incompatible. At this, Leon's eyes widened. For once, he seemed impressed. Perhaps, he thought, this was the reason he and Roswitha often clashed. His skepticism quickly faded, replaced by admiration for the fortune-teller's insight. The woman went on, her voice steady yet kind. "Your wife is sensitive, easily shaken by changes. What she longs for most is security. You must give her that. You must love her openly." At her words, Leon's face warmed. He turned his head just as Roswitha's eyes met his. The two froze, caught in a fleeting, awkward silence before quickly looking away. Roswitha fanned her flushed cheeks, whispering, "Why is it suddenly so hot?" Leon scratched his head, stammering, "Me too." The fortune-teller then guided Leon to place his hands upon a glowing crystal ball. Purple light shimmered within as she prepared to divine his fortune. Meanwhile, an unspoken secret followed Leon. Earlier that day, during a brief break, he had stumbled upon a self-service printer on the commercial street. Sneaking in some photos from his camera, he printed 5 images of Roswitha in a playful bunny girl outfit. Holding the stack of glossy prints, he had smiled mischievously. If Roswitha ever tried to corner him, he thought, these photos would serve as leverage.